introductory?
My name is Anthony Lamb.
My name is Rafael.
Very good. We have chosen for you to do question 1.2. The founders were concerned with how to preserve a Republican form of government. According to the founders, what was the Republican government? And what weaknesses did the founders feel would lead to the failure of Republican government? And how did the founders think these weaknesses would be prevented? Do you think the founders' solutions were correct? Why or why not? And whenever you are ready, we are ready to listen.
2,000 years before our nation began, there was the Roman Republic that influenced the founders of our nation. The definition of a republic is a country where people have the power to elect representatives. The representatives manage the government for the people and for the sake of the good. The government that had the greatest effect on the founders was the Roman Republic, and it lasted for over 500 years. The founders learned that the Roman people governed by themselves without a king, and the middle and upper class had a say in the acts of the government. The founders called the Roman government a republican government, which is a government where people have the power to govern themselves.
Citizens choose leaders to represent them and serve them. Citizens have to put their differences and desires aside for the common welfare. Founders thought a republican government was the best type of government to create, knowing they would gain the benefits the citizens had under the republican government. The benefits of such a government includes representatives. Having representatives makes laws more efficient because the people have a say in their government. The representatives are responsible for the people and work for the people. The republic allows greater freedom and prosperity. Economic pursuit benefits the entire nation and people are able to live well. Although the Republican government is very successful, it also has its disadvantages. The Republican government works well in small communities, but not well in large, diverse communities. In small communities, everyone knows and cares for each other and the common good.
However, it isn't the same case for the people in the colonies. In a republic, one has to be fairly alike to appeal to the common good. However, people have many different religious views and ways of life. People in a large republic would often break into groups in which members work for the good of the group instead of the population. This would cause groups to go against each other rather than work together. The founders thought these weaknesses could be prevented by combining a representative and a direct democracy. They thought by combining these two, they could administer a much larger area and eliminate both of these weaknesses. It was called a representative democracy.
The people chose leaders to make and administer the laws that benefit their country better than a republic or direct democracy would. They also balanced powers between the three branches. They gave each branch checks on the other two. They gave the national government only enumerated powers and retained all of the powers in the hands of either the people or the state. The members of each branch were chosen by a different method. The term of office varied by government position, and impeachment process was defined for extreme cases. In conclusion, the founders did come up with the necessary solutions to fix these problems. We think the founders' solutions were correct because they ensured that the federal government wouldn't abuse their powers and they still gave power to the state. But the main reason we believe that they are correct is that the people have the power to govern themselves, and no one can take it away from them. Thank you.
You ready for questions?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about this idea you mentioned in your presentations, this idea of a republican form of government versus direct democracy. Tell me the differences and why one, the republican form, is better or worse than direct democracy.
Well, in a direct democracy, the people all vote on every single problem and law, but in a Republican government, they elect officials to do that. That's why the United States chose the representative democracy, because it helped the people make better laws without having problems of having a vote every single time to make a law. Well, only some people voted instead of everybody trying to vote on every single issue.
To add on, specifically in the north and south of the colonies, the people and culture were very different, and there was a lot of land. So to have each state elect their representative who represented the colony and the state, instead of just everybody with their different ideals just clashing, makes it much more organized and makes the government able to do much more and much quicker.
Okay, do you know who some of the main people that were involved in creating the Constitution and how they felt about this republic idea?
Well, James Madison and Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton were the few main who researched about other governments around the world before our time, who had a government that wasn't ruled by a king or a queen. So they got their ideas from the Roman Republic because the Roman Republic didn't have like a king or queen ruling everybody. They had a group of members who ruled and the people elected people to represent them.
Okay, Madison and Hamilton and the people at the con, they had the good fortune to live under a strong central government when the king was in charge, very strong, top down. And they also had the opportunity to live under a very weak Articles of Confederation that couldn't get anything done. So the convention was, they came together and said, we're gonna try to build something that takes good from the Articles and good and make a better government. What do you think the one or two things that they were able to do from those two things that were, you'd say, yeah, those are the good things they did, that really made it work?
Well, the strong government from the monarchy of the British was very strong, and the government controlled their economy and their wealth, their quality of life. I mean, but they didn't offer any freedoms for the people. The Articles of Confederation gave lots of freedoms to the people, but they didn't have very much. But the government didn't have much power. They couldn't really do anything like the monarchy could.
So how's the Constitution different? What did they do?
Well, they combined both the articles and what it was like in a monarchy. They gave power to the government, but not too much power that they abuse it. But it gave them power to do stuff that they needed to do, but not too much that the people didn't have any powers left.
To add on to what my partner said, they were kind of afraid that if they gave the government too much power, they would abuse it, but if they gave too little, they wouldn't work it out. So they had to make a system on where the government wouldn't be able to abuse it like overrulingly. So they had to use the checks and balances, so they would be able to control it.
Today, do you think the central government is too strong, too weak, or just right?
Well, today there are some issues like the impeachment and stuff, but I think overall the government does not have too much power. The people have the power to give to the people who are in the government, so I don't think the government has too much power.
The power it has slightly shifted more to the president and more to Congress a little, in my opinion, but overall it has stayed the same, and people still have the rights, but also the people in charge have more power, but the people also, thanks to more communication and more transparency from the heads of the people or heads of the government, people have more access to know what is going on. So the problem is not in our government, in my opinion, but that the people aren't well informed on what's going on.
So why has it lasted 250 years? Why has it the longevity? Why has it been around for 250 years?
I think it's lasted that long only because we have developed like how like through experience, we've developed the entire government. So we've learned about economics, just how to make the people happy, how to keep like everyone happy. I think with like the whole representative system has made our life more efficient because we can get more laws efficiently, even if the process takes really long. I think overall, I think we've gained more freedom, more prosperity, and yet we've
Finish that.
I forgot my thought.
Interestingly enough, Madison went in and when he was writing the Constitution or being part of it, he was very much a stronger central government. He had seen the failures of the Articles and really wanted a strong central government. And then when he became a representative, he was very much against a strong central government. He was opposed to a strong president. And that's the beauty of the Constitution, that it was flexible enough to adapt both positions that Madison had, a strong government as well as a weaker government, and the Constitution was adaptable to both of them. So you did a nice job.
Nice job. You also did a